Rama 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 Shri Madhusudana Stotram Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Omiti Jnanamatena Rogajirnena Nirjita Kalnidram Prapannosmi Trahimam Madhusudana Na Gatir Vidyate Chanya Tvameva Sharanam Mama Papa Panke Nimagnosmi Trahimam Madhusudana Mohito Mohajalena Puttadarak Prihadishu Krishnaya Pidyamanosmi Trahimam Madhusudana Bhakti Hinam Cha Dinam Cha Dukkha Shokaturam Prabho Anashaya Manatham Cha Trahimam Madhusudana Gatagatena Shrantosmi Dirgha Samsara Vartmasu Hena Bhuyo Na Gacchami Trahimam Madhusudana Bahavo Hi Maya Drishtaha Kleshashchayeva Pratak Pratak Garbhavase Mahad Dukkham Trahimam Madhusudana Tena Deva Prapannosmi Tranartam Tatparayanaha Dukkharnava Paritranat Trahimam Madhusudana Vacha Yaccha Pratigyatam Karmana Nopapadhitam Tat Paparchitam Bhagnosmi Trahimam Madhusudana Sukritam Na Kritam Kinchit Dushkritam Cha Kritam Maya Sansara Ghore Magnosmi Trahimam Madhusudana Dehantara Sahasreshu Chanyonyat Pramito Maya Tiryaktam Manushaktam Cha Trahimam Madhusudana Vachayami Yathonmattaha Pralapami Tavagrataha Jaramarana Bhitosmi Trahimam Madhusudana Yatta Yatta Cha Yatosmi Stishova Purusheshu Cha Tatta Tatra Chala Bhaktis Trahimam Madhusudana Gatva Gatva Nivartante Chanda Surya Dayo Graha Adyapi Na Nivartante Dvadashakshara Chintakaha Urdhva Patal Madreshu Vyaptam Lokam Jagatram Dvadashaksharat Param Naste Vasudevena Bhashitam Dvadashaksharam Mahamantram Sarva Kama Phalapradam Garbhavasa Nivasena Shukena Paribhashitam Dvadashaksharam Niraharo Yaha Yaha Pate Dharivasare Sagacche Vaishnavam Sthanam Yatta Yogeshwaro Harihi Iti Shri Shukadeva Virachitam Madhusudana Stotram Sampurnam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Narayana Gopal Krishna Bhagavan Ki Jai. It's Shri Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Hello everybody, humble greetings, humble pranams and special welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for joining with me today in session 74 of our 100-day Srimad Bhagavad Gita challenge, where our aim is to recite the entire Srimad Bhagavad Gita over the span of 100 days, 7 shlokas each day. You all would have witnessed at the very start of today's session the beautiful sunrise of our country during the duration of this Madhusudana Stotra. Witness that coming of the start of this new day as we offer this most powerful Madhusudana Stotra to commence today's session. We now prepare to join in the meditative stanzas, the dhyana shlokas as dedicated to Srimad Bhagavad Gita. प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दयत्र पत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्ण प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रत्रयकपाले ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धगोपालनन्दन पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्त दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोण तथा जयद्रथ जलगान्धारनीलोत्पल शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनेन कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामा विकर्णघोरमकर दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सुतीर्ण खलु पाण्डवैरननदे कैवर्तक केशव आराशर्यवचः सरोजम् अमलं गीतार्थगण्डोत्कथं नानख्यानककेशरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम्। लोके सज्जनशतपथैर्हरः पिपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल वृद्धं शिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुत स्तुनवन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गारयन्ति यं सामः ध्यानावस्थिततर्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुषुरासुरगण देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो नारायणाय ॐ नमो नारायणाय। गीता माता की जय। Victory to Mother Bhagavad Gita. We join in offering this beautiful hymn offering salutation to Mother Gita. जय जय गीते जय व्यास जाते जय जय गीते जय व्यास जाते जय जय इह पर कल्याण दाते Bhagavad Gita Mate. Tattva-dhyane Shanti-nidhane Shanti-nidhane Bhav-bhayarini Sarva-guna-gana Sarva-guna-gana Jai Bhagavad Gita Mate. Shakti-karini Shakti-karini Bhakti-prachodini Janani 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 Jai Bhagavad Gita Mate. Arjuna mohe Kil Vishaharini Kil Vishaharini Devaki tanaya Shri Krishna Chintamani Krishna Chintamani Jaya Bhagavad Gita Mate. स्वार्थ संहारिणी स्वार्थ संहारिणी दास के शबनोत हृदय विहारिणी हृदय विहारिणी जय भगवद गीता माते जय भगवद गीता Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Gita Mate, Gita Mate, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Gita Mata Ki Jai. Victory to Mother Bhagavad Gita. In our previous session, dear friends, we stopped off at verse number 26 of chapter 13 of Srimad Bhagvad Gita, and today we continued our discussion in this chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita known as Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, that yoga of the discrimination between the knower of the field as well as the field. It is where Sri Krishna is explaining to Arjuna how does one tell the difference between the Kshetra or the field and the Kshetrajna or the knower of that field. Nearing the end of this chapter that Yogeshwara, Jagat Guru, Shri Krishna tells to Arjuna and all of humanity. With that scene set on that battlefield of Kurukshetra, Shri Krishna says, Shri Paramatmane Namah. Shri Paramatmane Namo Narayana Namo Narayana. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishthantam Parameshwaram Vinashyatva Vinashyantam Yaha Pashyati Sapashyati. Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishthantam Parameshwaram Vinashyatva Vinashyantam Yaha Pashyati Sapashyati. Shri Krishna says, he alone truly sees who sees the Supreme Lord as imperishable and abiding equally in all perishable beings, both animate and inanimate. This Parameshwara is the Chit Akash or the Chidambaram or the screen of consciousness. It is the persisting substratum. The Jnani takes note of the background. Parameshwara, who gives life and consciousness to the Prakriti clinging onto him, is only perceived, only observed, or his presence is only made aware to that one who is endowed with this Jnana or this knowledge. Many times we drive along a certain path, regular route, and we do not notice all of the fine detail. Only when we walk that route, then we see things that we may not have seen before. The Jnani, much like that observer who is keen, with an eye for detail, picks up on the minutest change. That Jnani is able then to realize the presence of that substratum. He may not be able to perceive it in its full entirety, but merely being aware that all that is happening is merely superimposed on that fixed, immovable background, that Chitakash, that Chidambaram. Those who are not aware of this, they are seen as ignorant. Everything in this world is subject to change. Birth, growth, disease, decay, death. The body itself goes through these processes. Everybody sees. But who truly sees? He who realizes the Supreme truly sees. This is why when you look at Shiva, you see he is portrayed with this third eye present at around this point, which really means opening the eye of the mind. Man ki aankhein khol re Baba, as one song says. Open the eye of the mind, and through the mind's eye we look at this world. It is tantamount to looking at something, and in utter disbelief, sometimes we see in movies this is portrayed. Someone puts on their glasses, someone wipes their eyes, someone removes their glasses to get a second, third and repeated look at the same thing. With this world, it really is changing our perspective, looking at things differently, changing the magnifying lens through which we see and understand and perceive this world. To the core, it is divine, and it is for us to realize that. Sri Krishna continues to say, Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishwaram na hinasyat manatmanam tato yati param gatim. samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitamishwaram na hinasyatmanatmanam tato yati parangatim. For by seeing the Supreme Lord equally present in all, he does not kill the self by himself and thereby attains the supreme state. What a beautiful verse, recognizing the beauty and the presence of that Supreme in all. When we say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, it is quite a profound statement. In the mind of that Jnani who looks on at this entire world, he sees the beauty of all, for they have pervading all, that presence of that Supreme. One is advised to see the world through the eye of this wisdom, since erroneous perception happens through maladjusted equipment. Hence, all of the so many verses have spoken about controlling the mind. They have spoken about developing that detachment, clarifying one's perception, not having too much of reliance on these senses. This erroneous perception is what all of that refers to. Through the maladjusted equipment, meaning the senses. When the pure consciousness looks upon itself through these matter envelopments, it perceives a world of plurality. So if the equipment through which we perceive and try to unravel this world is flawed, or not adjusted, or not calibrated properly, it means the measurement we get is also inaccurate. And this we can understand in relation to any tool which we are using to measure as a measuring device. If it is calibrated incorrectly, then all our measurements are skewed. To rediscover the spiritual reality is to end all agitations and plurality. It is, as Sri Krishna has demonstrated, everything exists in him and he exists in everything. Therefore, the plurality is only on the surface layer. It is only based on the maladjusted equipment of sight, where we see plurality. But again, if that sight is adjusted, it is calibrated, then we see unification. We see the ending of that plurality. The lower self cannot fight because it is now guided by the higher self when that spiritual state is attained by that individual. We are unable to discover the true self due to agyan or non-apprehension of reality, as well as mithya gyan or misapprehension arising out of non-apprehension. From these, we get enraptured in this material existence and identify with the body. The mindset which follows thereafter ensures continuity of births, because through these matter envelopments, desires set in, and desires, in order to fulfill those, a body is needed. In fulfilling those desires or doing those actions which we deem fit to fulfill those desires, again we are drowning ourselves further and further into this vicious cycle of birth and death. So one is advised then to remove that agyan, to remove the attachment to this material world, and instead redirect it towards that divine master, that supreme. And in that way, with the dawning of this gyan or knowledge, one truly sees. Sri Krishna continues. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah yaha pashyati tatha manam akartaram sa pashyati. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah yaha pashyati tatha manam akartaram sa pashyati. He who sees that all actions are performed in every way by nature or prakriti, and the self as the non-doer, he alone verily sees. This is quite a profound verse and can take lifetimes upon lifetimes to fully understand and grasp what this verse is saying. The body belongs to prakriti, and the Atman belongs to this state of actionlessness. He who realizes this fundamental difference truly knows and truly sees. The body is essentially a machine to fulfill desires, like we were saying. Due to desires, we are doomed to being born. All actions which we see manifested are based on the desires entertained by that intellect. The self, or that indweller, that Brahman in its purest state, is really actionless and pervading this entire universe at all times. It is perfect. It hungers for nothing. It wants nothing. It has no desires. It is when it becomes enveloped in this material existence, then desire follows. When desires are ended, actions become impossible. And if you recall, the actions are counted or recorded as actions if they are done in that state of ego. Means, when an action is done in that state of ego, it is done for self-gratification. It is done to fulfill or to satisfy oneself. But if that action is done selflessly, inasmuch as it is an action, it is not recorded or counted as an action, for it is done selflessly. And this is that point that is being made here, where the actions done thereafter are not deemed as actions since they have no motive. Desire-driven actions, they have motives. He who realizes this truly sees. This Maya is also Prakriti. The self is Brahman. It is first to realize that. Yada bhuta pratadbhavam ekastham anupashyati tat eva cha vistaram brahma sampadhyate tada. Yada bhuta pratadbhavam ekastham anupashyati tat eva cha vistaram brahma sampadhyate tada. The moment man perceives the diversified existence of beings as rooted in the one supreme spirit and the spreading forth of all beings from the same, that very moment he attains Brahma, who is truth, consciousness and bliss solidified. It is verses such as these that we see the system of universal brotherhood, where the entire world is seen as one family, as one community. We all are one. Regardless of the physical differences, the superficial differences, to the core, we are the same. And it is verses like this that really makes one consider, how then, if one is in this state, can one do something to cause pain to another? Can't happen. It is where we see each other as our own self, and in the light of our own self, we cannot then, in that mindset, do anything to deliberately cause pain, to rob, to steal, to kill, to murder, to plunder, to loot, to want to take over possessions. None of that will happen. We will regard everyone as our own self and treat everyone as we would want ourselves to be treated. So as much as one is taught to revere that Supreme Master, whom we call as God, many may address as Jesus Christ, some would address as Allah, in whatever name we regard that Supreme, we revere all of our fellow human beings in the same light, meaning that same adoration, that same reverence, that same regard and respect, for we all are creations of that Divine Master, and we all possess that innate divinity within us. It is merely for us to realize that. It starts with one person getting to that state, and others also are pulled to that state of awareness and consciousness. Thus, all that we practice, even in our rituals of Satya Sanatana Dharma, they have that common thread that runs through all of these, which is really putting us on that path of realization. when we greet each other by saying Namaste, Namo Aste, I bow to that divinity in you. When the arti or the light is waved before that individual, it is the divinity within one person is saluting the divinity present in another. What a beautiful concept. So the expansion of plurality from that one alone, the separate existence of all beings in that one, this is what we need to recognize. And in recognizing this fact, one has then ascended to that state of being realized or being Brahman. Various bodies arise due to desires and do not belong to the soul. This is when one gets to that state of true realization, and they realize the body is not in any way one's true existence. It is a temporary vehicle which is being occupied to take one through certain motions, to take one through a certain phase in order to get to that state of realization. Anaditvam nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyaha sharirasthopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. Anaditvam nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyaha sharirasthopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. Arjuna, being without beginning and without attributes, this indestructible Supreme Spirit, though dwelling in the body, in fact, does nothing nor gets tainted. This Brahman is not created and therefore has no beginning. Once something is created, it has an end. It has a beginning, it has an end. It has a start point, a day of creation, and once it is created, it will inevitably have its destruction. All productions of Maya, they are components of the gunas, or these modes of nature which are subject to transformation, meaning change. Therefore, things made up of the gunas are perishable. Change is inevitable, we say. And if you were to recall, what is the definition of that which is real is that which is changeless. So that which goes through changes cannot be real. It is unreal, it is transitory, it is temporary. This body goes through changes, this world goes through changes, but the background, the substratum, that is fixed, that is changeless, and it is for us to realize that that truly is that state which one must be cognizant of. Brahman, being nirgun, or meaning beyond the gunas, is imperishable. In his equanimity, vibration or change or movement is impossible, meaning complete silence. Therefore, no karma takes place in him, and he being the one without a second, there is nothing to taint that divine master. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyad akasham nopalipyate sarvatra vastito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyad akasham nopalipyate sarvatra vastito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. As the all-pervading ether is not contaminated by reason of its subtlety, though permeating the body, the self is not affected by the attributes of the body due to its attributeless character. Whilst we sit in our vehicle with our windows up and we drive through whatever environment, we are unaffected as that indweller, as that passenger within that vehicle. Whatever the vehicle drives through, we are totally separate from that. Similarly, this indweller within us is far beyond attributes. Akash means that which gives accommodation to things. It is the subtlest of all gross elements. The subtler the element, it means more pervasive it is. This being the subtlest of all means it is possessing the greatest amount of pervasiveness. Space, being able to demonstrate such subtlety, allows everything to remain in it, and yet nothing that it contains can contaminate it. It pervades all. Nothing pervades that. Similarly, that Supreme Self, which is all pervasive, is never in any way contaminated by anything that it pervades. Yatha prakashayat yekah kritsnam lokam imam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha kritsnam prakashayate bharata. Yatha prakashayat yekah kritsnam lokam imam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha kritsnam prakashayate bharata. Arjuna, as the one sun illumines this entire universe, so the one Atma or spirit illumines the whole Kshetra. Consciousness of the nature of awareness, meaning consciousness is of the nature of awareness, and being aware of how this in itself unfolds, in its presence everything becomes illumined. It is like in the light of the sun is revealed. In the brilliance of its own self, it stands revealed. The ever-perfect and joyous consciousness functions through the equipment and illumines them, but it never gets contaminated by the sins of the mind, by the perversions of the intellect, or by crimes of the body. It only illumines. This verse also has yet another dimension, where it shows, as much as we try to establish differences amongst ourselves, we experience similar events. The same sun, the same conditions, the elements, we are exposed to them. And it is for us to realize that just like we relate to these phenomena whilst living in this realm, the greater phenomena that we ought to relate to is really the presence of that supreme indweller as one within us all. Once as we get to that state of realization, then I no longer can see the physical boundary. I no longer can see differences through color, creed, race, religion, geography. We see all as being pervaded by that Supreme Divine Master. That reverence, that adoration, that respect is there, and that divinity present in all is adored, and each individual in getting to that state then rise in their own state of spirituality and realization of the supreme nature of their own self. With this here, friends, it brings today's session to an end. Special blessings and thanks to all for joining. Continue to read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, continue to spread the teachings of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, continue to practice Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and let us help to bring about that much needed transformation. Thank you again. Jai Shri Ram.